the understanding of dark matter and how dark matter evolved as well, along with everything else. And because I used the rule of nature, which are things are round, right? They're not, spherical, perfect, but they are round. Because I used that key as I was taking the whole of creation apart, going through time, you get to a point where you are examining the dark matter, because there's nothing else much to examine. You've removed all matter, you've removed energy increase, and all you've got is dark matter. So you start really examining dark matter to the point where nothing to you is something extremely important. So you look at the diversity of the dark matter, and then you look at the densities of the dark matter, and then you look at what makes dark matter dense and what makes dark matter not dense. And then you go through into the dark matter. And when you get into the dark matter, you then realize the depths of creation. In dark matter, there is infinity. And it doesn't matter how small the dark matter is, there will always be infinity in dark matter. And infinity you will find in all particles of dark matter. Every single little bit of a particle of dark matter, you will find infinity. And infinity is hooked up and linked to time and time realms. So you examine dark matter, you get saturated in the dark matter, and then in the dark matter you find time realms. And then the time realms break up and fracture into segments of time fragments. And then the time fragments, you have to start taking apart and taking away the time fragments. And once you've taken all the time fragments away in the dark matter, you end up with a unified time frame of 0 time. And because you're in a unified framework of 0 time, you then start examining the 0 time. But you're going back through time. So you're removing things all the time. You're removing all these things as you're going back through time. And as you get to 0 time, you realize that even in 0 time, there is integered time. So you have to start removing the integers of 0 time. Start removing integers of 0 time from 0 time. And eventually, once you do that, the void vanishes and disappears, and there aren't any borders or boundaries or time realms to be able to hold or contain you. I then hit the expanse. The expanse came into existence, and it is absolutely immense. The expanse is huge. It's a realm of existence which is just so big. It's so big because you've removed every single thing that you ever knew existed, and you have removed every little bit of it, and then eventually you're just in the expanse and you are just there. And that's when I realised that in the expanse, and because we've removed time and all time fragments, and we've and eradicated the void, right? Because the void never existed in the expanse. The time frame or the words for it, I don't know, but the expanse at one point didn't have a void in it. and it was just by itself. And but there is an existence after the expanse. There is an existence after the expanse. The expanse is just a containment field. So the expanse, even though empty and got nothing in it, it's just a containment field. So it means the expanse is made of something, and it's made to contain something. So I had to start taking the expanse to pieces. I had to start taking the framework of the expanse down. And once I'd taken the framework of all the expanse down in creation, there was another existence outside that. A massive existence, even bigger than the expanse and just immense in existence. But in that area, on the outside of the expanse, is the mathematical complexity, the mathematical complex realm. And because it's a mathematical complex realm, it means that the mathematical complexity builds the expanse. So the mathematical complexity builds the huge expanse. And it's a mathematical frameworking, but it's extremely diverse, and it's extremely old, and it's extremely calculative, and it's extremely and it's still evolving all of its routines. It's still evolving all things around it, and it's still building calculations, and it's still becoming more and more and more complex, and more dense in its calculative capabilities. But in quantum thinking, if you start taking this dense mathematical realm back through its time periods and back to the beginnings of simple routines and simple mathematic calculations and simple processes and extremely simple areas, you start ending up in an area of utter and total brand new realm. The birth of the creation and the making of just realms, nothing else. And there's even a further process that will go even further back through time. And it is a wonderful, marvellous place. It's worth examining to be able to get to know not just who you are as an individual or a person, but to get to know how the whole existence is so important that it helps you build a reality to a life which is definitely worth living.